In a sea of murky New England IPAs, can an OG West Coast whale like this Pliny the Elder still hold up? We're gonna drink this now and find out. Most craft beer fans have probably heard about Pliny the Elder. Here in Minnesota, we can't really get our hands on it unless you know somebody that's traveling to California or a spot in the United States where they're distributing. And I was lucky enough that my brother was in California, he grabbed a bottle for me, brought it home and asked, "Do you want some?" And I'm like, "Yeah, definitely." So this is my first Pliny the Elder I've ever had. And it's definitely got a storied legacy. I mean, it is one of the OG whales in the craft community. And I'm really curious to know how it stands up in 2022 in this landscape of never-ending churn of new IPAs, milkshake IPAs, smoothie sours. This is just a straightforward double IPA from the West Coast. So let's dive in and check out what this thing's all about. I mean, it smells just like fresh hops. It smells like you took a hop in your hand, you crushed it up, and you just smell that lupulin powder right on your hands. Definitely piney and citrusy right on the nose. Yeah, I mean, like that is just a welcome respite from a lot of the other IPAs that are out on the market right now. It's dry, it's bitter, and it finishes super clean, and that's what I want in my IPA. When I think back to when I first heard about Pliny, it was in an era of craft beer when there were these big, bold double IPAs. It was kind of a hops arms race in the craft beer community, like how many IBUs can we get in this IPA? And while some of those were just like melting the enamel right off your teeth with hop burn, I think what made Pliny so famous was the fact that it packs so much hop punch into this glass without melting your face. What's really interesting to me is the pendulum is always swinging in craft beer, and right now we're seeing a huge influx of breweries going back to the West Coast IPA style. And it's really interesting to me because a lot of these new West Coast IPAs that are coming out, you can definitely tell that they're still influenced by New England IPA. Most of them are still a little bit hazy. They're still very juicy and orangey, where an original West Coast IPA is definitely more bracing and piney in its bitterness. And it's just really refreshing to have something that reminds me of that first era of craft beer when I really got into it, and all that was in this beer were the main ingredients, nothing outside of that. So if you live in an area where this is distributed, you could probably get your hands on a bottle, but when this first was coming out, there were lines out of the brewery. You couldn't get your hands on a bottle. It was so limited. It was flying off the shelf, and there was just a fervor around this beer. And I think that probably led into some of the hype that surrounded it and vaulted it into the Craft Beer Hall of Fame. So this beer takes its name from Pliny the Elder, who was a Roman naturalist that was around in the early AD 23 to 79. He was one of the first people to talk about or write about hops. And that's why they named this double IPA after him. Fun fact, when Pliny the Elder was kind of in his elder years, he became a Navy captain, and he saw this like strange cloud, and he went and rowed his boat over there, and it turned out it was Mount Vesuvius, and he was buried in ash and died. To Pliny. So like I said before, a straight up double IPA in today's craft beer landscape might be a little boring to some people, but to me, the allure of this is that it is the benchmark for West Coast IPA. And with all the hype that surrounds it, I do think that it delivers on its prospect. I mean, it is delicious, it's flavorful, it's bitter, it's bracing, it's clean. It's everything that you would want out of a West Coast IPA. So the question is, should you go out and search for a bottle of Pliny? To me, I think the answer is still yes. Even in this current craft beer landscape with so many options on the table, this still stands out to me as just a cut above some of the other West Coast IPAs out there. So So I hope you find yourself a bottle, crack it open, enjoy it with somebody that you love. And until next time, cheers.